of over 4,000 hotels worldwide. For details, visit bestwestern.com.
Week 1 will come down to David Simard or Bryan Insko. One of these two gentlemen will become our first semifinalist in men's 10-pin play. Simard, the defending champion, won $10,000 a year ago out of Granby, Quebec. Bowled a 181 in his win over Pickering, Ontario's Mustafa Najetbakhsh.
The Iranian bowler. Well, he got away with it. He's got so much torque on that bowling ball. When they get over there like that, it's fine. But you better get all the way over there, you're going to have a problem. This could be a real interesting match because both of them are doing the similar kind of a bowling ball release. Insko is a little bit more direct.
Not a lot of action, but left up the 2.
Insko has a starting position and he's swinging his ball, with the right arm there. He has a similar position to the way everybody used to bowl, like I'm talking in the 60s, 70s. Gets the ball down there, but it gives him excellent balance out there. He's long, he has a long arm, and he gets full use of it.
Nice cover for Bryan Insko.
This is smart. He's standing there and just taking him a second to get into the delivery, what he wants to do with it. There's where he cups his wrist. See the wrist? That gives him a little bit more roll on it. It'll swing as he turns down, as he hits the foul line.
Oh,
boy, did that turn. You have to have a lot of courage when you bowl that style of a ball, that you trust your ability to hit the target.
I find this very similar to golfers and putting. They just say, you know, you pick your spot 6 inches in front of your ball, hit your ball through that 6 inches. Don't worry about where the ball is going after that. I mean, if it goes in the hole, fine. But your first 6 inches is what's important. Here too is make your mark, hit your mark, and then let the ball work.
Well, you've done it so long and you've had the capability. Now, see, here's the difference on it. Watch this now. Here we go, right into the head pin, and he got a good break.
Did he ever? Did he ever?
All right, let's see if he can pick this up. Again, you know, the difficulty is with the bowlers of this talent. When they know they can just string out the strike, they get a little careless on their spares sometimes. And it's important. You better keep your spares up because that makes such a difference in the game.
Well, absolutely. And he had the strike in 1. David Simard is our defending champion, and he'll look to become our first semi-finalist, but he'll have to beat Bryan Insko of Medicine Hat to do that, and both gentlemen off to a good start. Simard slight advantage with the strike in 1. They both have spares in 2 as Simard from Granby, Quebec steps up here in the 3rd. Wow. That was a fling. That was a big fling.
Well, he got that ball out there and he hit what, you know, you want to watch right here. He swings it down and he starts turning the ball in the backswing all the way down. It was turning, coming down through the swing. And then when he got to the foul line, he just cranked it up. Insko has to stay right into this game. He can't give Simard the opportunity. There's too much talent. Insko has a little bit of a problem.
Leaves the 2-5 as he got a little bit deep.
You know, if you have the sweet spot in tennis.
What, on the racket, you mean?
On the racket.
Yes.
Same thing in bowling. If you can have the back of your hand behind her at that's the sweet spot, right at the foul line. Release it out there. There's a good shot. There's a good example of it.
Nicely done by Insko as he picks up his third spare. He's not that far off, is he? And I guess as a bowler, you're just trying to think, okay, what will it take for me now? Just, I'm getting my spares. What's it going to take for me to get the strikes here?
Well, it may be as simple as aiming his toes a little bit more to the right. You know, you don't want to. Well, he just made a chemical error there. Chemical being the oil on the lanes is not what he wanted to hit. And as a result, he crossed over and he has the split. Now, he made a trick shot earlier. This will be an interesting one, and he's got the capabilities. He's going over far enough on the left-hand side. He's aimed his toes right at the 3 pins on the right, and he will want to skid the pin over there.
Drive the 3 back, and he gets behind it to take out the 6-10. So an open frame here in the 4th, an 8 count, and 60 through 4 for Bryan Insko of Medicine Hat.
Scoreboard shows 40 and a strike up for David. As against 52, but however, with the open, Simard has an excellent chance here.
Boy, does he ever. He's got a bit of a run here. Got the strike up in 3. Our defending champion. Oh my, wrapped it right around the 10.
Strangely enough, if you think about a pair of scissors, and if you think about the length of the bowling lane and where you're standing, if you adjust your spot where your target, as you were talking about, if you adjust it 1 inch where you start the delivery, it's 3 inches approximately at the opposite end. So if you keep that in mind when you're bowling, you know, and if the ball stays on the right hand side, as sometimes you're seeing here, you have to move your body physically or your target over to the right. A lot of times people switch it around and then they get into trouble. So here we are, the difference being the spare, whatever he gets now.
And of course that open really jumps off the board, doesn't it, for Insko in the 4th.
Notice how he doesn't really put the finger, the baby finger, on the ball, but he cups his baby finger. That's an interesting situation. That's also more than an interesting situation. Got behind it. But usually they curl their baby finger up on the ball. He curls his finger, but he does not fold it under the ball or onto the ball. As he puts his hand in there, now you'll see him there, he's got the finger in there, but now you see he's got it.
Sort of sits right on the point of it. Yeah.
And he's got it, it's probably the feel.
Yep. Oh, nice try. Tried to slide it over, but that's an open frame here in 5 for David Simard.
Opens it up for Insko to get back into it.
Betcha.
He went for it, and more power to him for that. But look at the head pin didn't quite touch it, just shaking his head. You know, it might be the feel of the baby finger, because that's what they're trying to do. Is it's all instinct and feel on it.
So an opening here, but too full on the head pin for Bryan Insko.
However, if should he spare this, then he's right back into the game. There would be a maximum of a 5-pin difference if he makes this spare and gets a strike. So it's an interesting matchup. He has to be careful going across the lane more direct. Well done. One thing you don't very often see is with bowlers like this, when they're using that type of a roll on their bowling ball, is you don't see very many chop-offs, because the ball will roll into it and make the pin move sideways faster. Very intent.
He crossed over 2 and got the strike.
It's interesting to watch here as he goes through this, and he just comes right through. Look at the knee bend on him. He gets all the power in there, just enough to get it through. On the left-hand side, if you're left of the center, you better keep going, because if you're left of the center just barely, you'll get yourself a split. Now he has to respond here, because the match is close.
Oh, here, he's coming off his open. He crossed again, and he'll leave the 3. So looking for the spare, David Simard here in 6, and he's got it. But a little bit of momentum now has gone Bryan Insko's way with a spare and strike through 6.
The key is the strike, because that gives them the advantage of picking up extra pins.
Well, you can see there's only a 5-pin difference, and you know, you go back, it was as much as 16 just a frame ago, but that 9 really hurt David.
Look how far back he is on the approach there. He's only back about 12 feet, but the power. See how he lowers his right shoulder? The man, he swings it in and gives him all the momentum.
Now, should he be concerned? I mean, he seems to be almost every time left of the head pin.
Well, that's right, and he hasn't made the adjustment yet. He's expecting everything to blow because of the speed. He's expecting everything on the rack to get knocked over, but that's not the way it works. I think he's a little concerned if he gets too far out on the outside. You saw a couple of channel balls earlier, and maybe that's what he's thinking about.
So Bryan Insko with a strike up in 6. Yeah, his league average, as you see, 222. That's at the panorama lanes in Medicine Hat.
Now you notice, sorry, Vic, he's all the way back, 16 feet back on the approach, and he's more direct. He's standing up tall.
Somehow everything just rattled around the 5. And here's the comparison of the 2.
One standing straight up on the deal, the other one is lower down, and as they both come down, they get to the exact same position. Look at the hand positions. Excellent. Just superb. But the difference is that Insko is down lower with his knee bend, and he's getting a little bit more luck at the moment with the talent he has.
Good spare in 7 for Insko. So it's still a 4-pin game. Advantage Simard through 7. Or through 6, pardon me.
Insko is back in the back there, swinging the ball now and faster. He comes down much faster on a ball, and as a result of that, that's why he missed the headband. Now, he rushed himself just a little bit. You got to take that breath and then let it all out.
Talking to himself just a little bit. Medicine Hat, about 3 hours southeast of Calgary. If you get down to Lethbridge and go due east, you'll run into Medicine Hat.
He's got that covered. You know, if it wasn't for the fact you're a man and the person that keeps nattering at me when I'm using the tom-tom, you are just amazing with your statistics as where people live and where the areas are.
Well, it's just, I think sometimes people will hear these towns, not quite sure where they are. We all know I think we generally know where the bigger cities are.
Well, the woman on that machine tells me, I told you to turn right.
Yes. Aren't they the greatest thing?
Here we go. This is the one he wants.
See, now that, the GPS just said strike. Our thanks, as always, to the executive of Bowl Canada for continuing to make this series possible, and to all the proprietors across the country. If you're interested in the game, just visit your local bowling center. They'll help you out. And if you're interested in being part of this Canadian Championship, you can get further information at bowlcanada.ca.
Well, Simard would like to get a dot on the strike mark here, and he's put lots of power into that.
But again, interesting, the strike came because he found the pocket on the right. Here again, he was just a little full.
And you can see he's not comfortable. He's looking there, he's thinking mentally, what am I doing here on this? This is a difficult shot for somebody that's rolling like he is. Watch as he is so strong.
What do you think? He could just hook it right by everything, you mean? Or he's going to get a pin?
He can knock it. He can hit the front pin and just keep on going. Well, thankfully he didn't. You see the power on that man? He's got shoulders on him. He could be a weightlifter. And he knows he's not able to.
Hey, it's all in the head right now.
Boy.
He's tapping himself saying, come on, think this thing out. Figure it out.
Insko could really put his thinking cap on here. If
Well, the advantage is to Bryan right now if he can run some strikes together, but he again gets a little deep and the ball won't come back for him.
well, he just speeded it up instead of just staying consistent, and they're both playing mind games at the moment. Insko needs a spare here. Just to make sure he covers all 3 of these pins that are left.
He has just the 1 open frame. That was in the 4th, and just 1 strike. And that came in the 6th. Bryan Insko. Oh, and that's an absolute killer.
That is not what he wanted by any stretch. Because you can be sure he's already down a few points, and now all of a sudden he's more than in trouble. He has to get the strike going in this one to have any opportunity whatsoever. There it is. That's what he needed.
You betcha. So a chance to put a little bit of pressure on. He has a potential 174 to the potential 194 for David Simard.
Simard still has to mark,
Yeah.
which is rather interesting. He's at the 10th frame. He still has to get a mark in order to lock him out.
Come on, spin over. And it won't as he leaves the 4.
An opportune moment for Insko to get the open mark. Made it a little easier, and certainly not what he wanted to see, and he made a nice pick.
Yeah, he'll close out with a 164 for Bryan Insko, but at this moment, it's 154 for David Simard. So he's pretty close here to shutting Bryan out with a spare up in 9. Oh my.
There's the difference. If he'd have made a mark, it would have been a total different game. Well, Simard will advance, but certainly not the way he wanted to. Got way out on the further in the lane than he wanted with the speed that he did, and now all he's just content with is to get that. So he had a 181 and a 170, but he will advance.
He does. And still thinking about it, realizing he may have gotten a few breaks along the way, but he spread his opens out. 1 in 5, 1 in 9. Compare that to Bryan Insko. That foundation frame, the 9th. David Simard, defending champion, is through.